I'm happy that we got justice. I'm happy that everybody who was on the case was on the case. And I just want to let the world know that my cousin was loved.
At 3 a.m. on December 9, 2022, SWAT officers burst through an apartment door in Silver Spring, Maryland. They expected to find one suspect, but what they discovered would change everything. Officer Michael Henry spotted a large lump under a blanket on the bedroom floor. "Show me your hands," he yelled. But when his partner lifted that blanket, the smell hit them first. Then they saw her. The body of 26-year-old Denise Middleton, 9 months pregnant, had been rotting there for over a month. Here's what makes this case so disturbing. Denise lived in a busy apartment complex. She had a loving family. She was days away from giving birth to her son Ezekiel. Yet somehow, she vanished without a single person reporting her missing. This is the story of Denise Middleton, who was killed and left to rot like garbage. Welcome to Crazy Dark Files. Right now, there are thousands of women like Denise who are living with partners who seem normal on the outside but are capable of unthinkable violence, completely unaware that their lives are in immediate danger. If you want to help spread awareness about domestic violence and the warning signs that could save innocent lives, then please like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel. Your action now could help protect another woman who might be in danger. But how does a pregnant woman disappear just like that? The answer will leave you questioning everything you think you know about the people living right next door.
Tory Moore arrested and facing charges after cops say he shot and killed a clerk here Thursday afternoon. And hours later, a tragic twist in the case. Police finding the decomposing body of a pregnant woman inside the 31-year-old's apartment across the street.
To understand this tragedy, you need to know who Denise Middleton really was. She wasn't just another victim. She was a daughter, a sister, and a woman about to become a mother for the first time. Denise was 26 years old and full of life. Her family remembers her as funny and witty, someone who could light up any room she walked into. She had this infectious laugh that made everyone around her smile. Denise loved fashion, hair, and makeup. Her cousin Taylor said she could make an outfit out of anything. She had that special talent for making herself look amazing no matter what she wore. But what made Denise truly special was her heart. She was always giving out compliments and making people feel good about themselves. Her family called her a walking book of positive affirmations. If you had a fight with Denise, she would always make sure to fix things. She couldn't stand leaving problems unsolved. In 2022, Denise was living the happiest time of her life. She was 9 months pregnant with her first child, a baby boy she planned to name Ezekiel. Her sister Chinita Cotis remembers their last conversation clearly. Denise told her, "I'm excited about my boy. He is due next month. I love you." Denise told everyone who would listen about her pregnancy. She was that excited. Her father, Denise Middleton, was looking forward to meeting his first grandson. The whole family was preparing to welcome little Ezekiel into the world. Denise was living with her boyfriend, 33-year-old Tory Moore, in the Enclave Silver Spring Apartments. Moore was the father of her unborn child. They shared an apartment on Oak Leaf Drive, right across from a gas station. To the outside world, they looked like any other couple, preparing for their first baby together. Police even found a tiny onesie hanging in their bedroom closet, proof of how ready Denise was to become a mom. She had everything prepared for Ezekiel's arrival. Her family's statement after her death shows just how much she meant to them. Denise was so loved by her family and so cared for. We are heartbroken that this was her story in reality. We wish our efforts would have brought her back home to us. But behind closed doors, something terrible was building. And on October 9th, 2022, Denise's dreams of motherhood would be destroyed forever. Tory Moore and Denise Middleton lived together in an apartment unit at the Enclave Silver Spring complex. From the outside, they seemed like any other couple expecting their first child. But the truth was much darker. Moore was 33 years old, 7 years older than Denise. He had a history that should have raised red flags. Store managers at the local dash-in convenience store had already banned him from the property because of his behavior. This wasn't a man who handled conflict well. The first real warning sign came on October 9, 2022. Security cameras in their apartment building captured something that would later become crucial evidence. The footage shows Moore and Denise entering the lobby together, but this wasn't a normal couple coming home. She's clearly upset about something. When they get into the elevator, the cameras show Denise moving to the corner, as far away from Moore as possible. She's wiping tears from her face. Moore's behavior gets worse. When another man tries to get on the elevator with them, Moore physically stops him. He doesn't want any witnesses to whatever is happening between him and Denise. The elevator doors close, and they go up to their floor. Denise follows Moore out so slowly that the elevator doors almost close on her. She doesn't want to go with him. The prosecutor later said, "Whatever was going on was not good." This would be the last time anyone saw Denise alive. Moore later admitted to police what happened next. He told detectives that he pushed Denise while they were outside the apartment building, but it didn't stop there. Once they got inside their apartment, Moore said Denise was still acting out. His response? He slapped her. Then he choked her. Think about this for a moment. Denise was 9 months pregnant. She was carrying his child. She was probably scared, maybe trying to protect herself and her baby, and Moore's answer was violence. This pattern of control and abuse didn't happen overnight. Moore felt comfortable enough to grab and push Denise in public, in front of security cameras. He felt entitled to stop other people from getting on the elevator with them. These are the actions of someone who sees his partner as property, not as a person. Domestic violence often gets worse during pregnancy. Abusers see pregnancy as a time when their victim can't easily leave. They feel more control. For Denise, being so close to her due date made her even more vulnerable. Here's what I want you to think about. Have you ever seen warning signs like this in relationships around you? Maybe a friend whose partner seems too controlling, or someone who always has excuses for bruises or injuries. Drop a comment and let me know your thoughts. Sometimes speaking up can save a life. But for Denise, it was already too late. What happened next in that apartment would shock even experienced homicide detectives. October 9, 2022, started like any other day for Denise Middleton. She had no idea it would be her last. The security cameras at the Enclave Silver Spring Apartments captured everything that happened next. At around 8 p.m., Moore and Denise entered the building lobby, but something was clearly wrong between them. The footage shows Moore wasn't just walking with Denise, he was grabbing her, physically forcing her toward the elevator. Denise looked distressed. You could see the tension in her body language. She didn't want to be there. When the elevator arrived, they stepped inside together, but Denise immediately moved to the far corner, putting as much distance between herself and Moore as possible. The cameras inside the elevator captured her wiping tears from her face. She was crying. Then something else happened. Another resident tried to get on the elevator with them. Moore stepped forward and physically blocked the man from entering. He didn't want any witnesses to whatever was about to happen upstairs. The elevator doors closed. They rode up to their floor in silence. When the doors opened again, Denise was so reluctant to follow Moore that she moved incredibly slowly. The elevator doors almost closed on her because she was taking so long to get out. This was the last time security cameras would ever see Denise Middleton alive. What happened next comes from Moore's own confession to police. Once they got inside their apartment, the fight continued. Moore told detectives that Denise was still upset, still acting out, as he put it. His response was to slap her across the face. But it didn't stop there. Moore then put his hands around Denise's neck and choked her. Remember, she was 9 months pregnant. She was carrying his child. She was probably terrified, trying to protect herself and baby Ezekiel. Then Moore pulled out a gun. He shot Denise 7 times. The autopsy later showed that at least 4 of those bullets hit her in the back. This means Denise was trying to get away from him. She was running for her life, trying to escape, when Moore shot her from behind. Think about what this means. Denise knew she was about to die. In her final moments, she was probably thinking about her unborn son, about her family, about all the things she would never get to do. After killing Denise, Moore didn't call 911. He didn't try to help her. He didn't show any remorse. Instead, he did something that shows just how cold and calculated he really was. Moore pulled out his phone and started making Google searches. He typed in "shooting Enclave apartments" to see if anyone had heard the gunshots. He searched for Montgomery County News to check if police were already investigating. But his searches got even more disturbing. Over the next few hours, Moore looked up how long does it take for a dead body to smell and how to move a dead body without being seen. These weren't the searches of someone who had just made a terrible mistake. These were the searches of someone planning to cover up a murder. Around 9 p.m., just 1 hour after they had entered the building together, security cameras captured Moore leaving the apartment alone. He walked out like nothing had happened. Denise's body was left on the bedroom floor. Moore didn't just leave the building. He left town completely. While Denise lay dead in their apartment, Moore traveled to North Carolina, then took a bus all the way to California. He stayed there for over a month. During this entire time, no one reported Denise missing. Her family thought she was fine. Her neighbors had no idea what had happened. Moore had successfully made a 9-month pregnant woman disappear without anyone noticing. But Moore made one crucial mistake. He eventually came back to Silver Spring, and when he did, he brought that same gun with him, the gun he had used to kill Denise and their unborn son. What happened next would finally expose his crimes to the world. For over a month, Tory Moore lived with the most horrific secret imaginable. While Denise's body decomposed in their bedroom, he traveled across the country like nothing had happened. After killing Denise on October 9th, Moore didn't stick around. He packed his bags and headed to North Carolina first. From there, he bought a bus ticket to California and stayed there for weeks. The whole time, Denise's family had no idea she was dead. They thought she was still at home with Moore, preparing for baby Ezekiel's birth. What makes this even more disturbing is how normal Moore acted during this time. He wasn't hiding in some remote cabin or acting like a fugitive. He was living his life, traveling, probably talking to people, maybe even making friends, all while knowing that his pregnant girlfriend's body was rotting in his apartment back in Maryland. Moore continued making those sick Google searches during his travels. He kept checking news websites to see if anyone had discovered Denise's body. He searched for updates about the Enclave apartments. Every search showed he knew exactly what he had done and was actively trying to avoid getting caught. Think about the level of coldness this required. Most people can't even keep small secrets without feeling guilty. But Moore was carrying the secret of a double murder, Denise and their unborn child, and acting like everything was fine. Around November 13th, Moore made a decision that still shocks investigators today. He came back to Silver Spring. He returned to the same apartment where Denise's body had been decomposing for over a month. Moore didn't come back to confess. He didn't come back to finally call police or give Denise a proper burial. He came back and moved right back into that apartment. He slept there, he ate there, he lived there, with Denise's rotting corpse just feet away in the bedroom. For 26 more days, Moore lived this double life. During the day, he would leave the apartment and go about his business in Silver Spring. Maybe he went shopping. Maybe he talked to neighbors. Maybe people asked him where Denise was, and he made up lies about her being away visiting family. At night, he would come home to that apartment, knowing Denise's body was right there under a blanket on the bedroom floor. The smell must have been overwhelming. There were mice running around the body. But Moore just kept living there like it was normal. This wasn't someone who had killed in a moment of rage and immediately regretted it. This was someone who had planned a murder, executed it, and then spent weeks perfecting his cover-up. But Moore's arrogance would be his downfall. On December 8, 2022, he made a decision that would finally expose everything. He walked across the street to the dash-in convenience store, the same store that had banned him before. He was about to commit another murder, and this time there would be cameras watching his every move. On December 8, 2022, at around 3 p.m., Moore walked across the street from his apartment to the dash-in convenience store. He was carrying the same gun he had used to kill Denise 2 months earlier. Working behind the counter was 61-year-old Ayalwo Wondimu, a store clerk just trying to make an honest living. Wondimu had no idea he was about to encounter a man who had already committed a double murder. Moore walked into the store and picked up a bottle of pure leaf iced tea. He brought it to the counter to pay, but then something went wrong. Moore and Wondimu got into an argument over the purchase. The exact details of what started the fight don't matter. What matters is how Moore reacted. Remember, this was the same store that had banned Moore before because of his behavior. The managers knew he was trouble. But on this day, Wondimu was just doing his job, probably trying to handle a difficult customer. The argument got heated. Moore started throwing energy drink bottles at Wondimu. The clerk picked up a metal pole to defend himself and swung it at Moore. That's when Moore made his deadly choice. Security cameras captured everything that happened next. Moore pulled out his handgun and shot Wondimu twice as the clerk fell to the ground behind the counter. But Moore wasn't done. He walked closer to the counter, leaned over it, and fired several more shots down at Wondimu. Wondimu was shot 3 times total. He died right there on the floor of the store where he worked. After killing Wondimu, Moore calmly picked up his iced tea and walked out of the store. He crossed the street and went back to his apartment, the same apartment where Denise's body had been decomposing for 2 months. But this time, Moore had made a fatal mistake. Unlike Denise's murder, this killing happened in broad daylight, in a public place, with security cameras recording everything. Police rushed to the scene within minutes. They reviewed the security footage and began interviewing witnesses. By that evening, they had identified Moore as their suspect. They traced him to his apartment at the Enclave complex. At 3 a.m. on December 9th, a SWAT team surrounded Moore's apartment. They had a no-knock warrant, which meant they could break down the door without warning. The officers expected to find one murder suspect. They had no idea they were about to discover something much worse. The SWAT team burst through the door. They found Moore sleeping on a bare mattress near the kitchen. They quickly handcuffed him, but then 2 officers rushed into the bedroom to make sure no one else was hiding. That's when Officer Michael Henry saw a large lump on the floor covered by a blanket. "Show me your hands," he yelled, thinking someone might be hiding underneath. When his partner lifted the blanket, the smell hit them immediately. It was the smell of death, overwhelming and unmistakable. Underneath that blanket was the decomposing body of Denise Middleton. The officers were shocked. They had come to arrest a man for killing a store clerk. Instead, they had discovered the body of a pregnant woman who had been missing for 2 months without anyone knowing it.
It smells like trash or like, I don't know, it's a bad smell.
Neighbor Tony Panetta describing the unbearable stench that hits you as soon as you step off the elevator. He's lived here at the Enclave for 2 years.
Mice were running around Denise's body. The decomposition was so advanced that the scene was almost unbearable. But there was something else that broke the officers' hearts. Hanging in the bedroom closet was a tiny newborn onesie waiting for baby Ezekiel, who would never come home. Moore was immediately questioned about Denise's death. That's when he confessed to killing her during what he called some kind of fight. He admitted she was 8 months pregnant. He told police he was pretty positive he had used the same gun to kill both Denise and Wondimu. The secret Moore had kept for 2 months was finally out. But the full horror of what he had done was just beginning to come to light. Once police discovered Denise's body, the investigation moved quickly. The medical examiner's office conducted a full autopsy that revealed the true horror of what Moore had done. The autopsy confirmed that Denise had been shot 7 times. At least 4 of those bullets entered her back, proving she was trying to run away when Moore killed her. The medical examiner also confirmed that Denise was exactly 38 weeks pregnant, just 2 weeks away from her due date. Most importantly, the autopsy showed that baby Ezekiel was viable. This means he could have survived if he had been born naturally. He was a fully formed baby boy who never got the chance to take his first breath because of Moore's actions. Investigators also examined Moore's phone, and what they found was deeply disturbing. His Google search history told the complete story of his crimes and cover-up attempts. During his month-long trip to California, Moore continued checking news websites about Montgomery County. He kept searching for any mention of Denise or the Enclave apartments. Every search showed he knew exactly what he had done and was trying to avoid getting caught. Based on all this evidence, prosecutors charged Moore with multiple serious crimes. He faced 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 for Denise and 1 for baby Ezekiel. He was also charged with a crime of violence against a pregnant person and several weapons charges.
He was found guilty today of the murder of Denise Middleton. She was 26 years old. She was 8.5 months pregnant at the time of her death. He was also found guilty of murder of a viable fetus.
The charges for Ezekiel's death made legal history. This was the first time in Montgomery County, Maryland, that someone had been charged with murdering a viable fetus. The law recognized that Ezekiel was a separate victim who deserved justice. Moore also faced first-degree murder charges for killing store clerk Ayale Wandimu, along with additional weapons charges for that crime. The evidence against Moore was overwhelming. His own confessions, the security camera footage, his phone searches, and the forensic evidence all pointed to the same conclusion. Moore had planned and executed the murders of 3 people: Denise, Ezekiel, and Wandimu. Now it was time for a jury to decide his fate. When Moore's trial began, his defense attorneys knew they had an impossible case. The evidence was overwhelming, so they made a shocking decision. They admitted that Moore had killed Denise. But they argued it wasn't first-degree murder. They claimed Moore hadn't planned to kill Denise, that it happened in the heat of the moment. Defense attorney Victoria Kawecki told the jury, "This case is a tragedy, but this doesn't mean that Tori is guilty of first-degree murder." The prosecution disagreed completely. They showed the jury the security footage of Moore grabbing and pushing Denise. They presented his Google searches about moving dead bodies. Most importantly, they focused on one key fact: Moore shot Denise 7 times. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. That's incredibly fast for a murder trial. 3 jurors later explained their thinking. They said the 7 gunshots prove Moore had time to think between each shot. Juror Nilmini Rubin said, "Just 1 gunshot would have made it hard for me to convict him of first-degree murder, but he had time between each shot to think." The jury found Moore guilty on all charges, 2 counts of first-degree murder for Denise and Ezekiel, plus the weapons charges. This made legal history as the first conviction for murdering a viable fetus in Montgomery County. During sentencing, Denise's family finally got to speak. Her father, Denise Middleton, said, "I will miss my baby and never get the chance to meet my grandson." Cousin Taylor Middleton was even more direct. "We didn't lose her. We were robbed of her. We were robbed of Ezekiel." Throughout the entire trial and sentencing, Moore showed no emotion. Family members said he appeared to show no remorse whatsoever. Judge Rachel McGuckian sentenced Moore to 3 consecutive life sentences plus 80 additional years in prison. He will never be eligible for parole. Justice was finally served for Denise, Ezekiel, and Ayale Wandimu. The Middleton family's pain is something no family should ever have to endure. They didn't just lose Denise, they lost 2 family members in one horrific act. Denise's sister, Chinita Coates, shared their final conversation with the world. She remembered Denise saying, "I'm excited about my boy. He is due next month. I love you." Those were the last words Chinita would ever hear from her sister. The family released a powerful statement that shows who Denise really was. Denise was a funny, witty, and loving person. She loved fashion, hair, and makeup. Her laugh was infectious, and her jokes were the highlight of special moments. She was so excited to become a mom. But their statement also revealed their anger. "We are heartbroken that this was her story and reality. We didn't lose her. We were robbed of her. We were robbed of Ezekiel." This case changed Montgomery County forever. It set a legal precedent that protects unborn children and their mothers. Prosecutors can now use this case to seek justice for other victims. The Middleton family ended their statement with a powerful message: "We will make sure justice is served for her and baby Ezekiel. Protect Black women." Denise and Ezekiel's memory lives on through the love of their family and the justice that was finally served. Denise's story teaches us important lessons about domestic violence that could save lives. The warning signs were there, captured on security cameras for everyone to see. Moore grabbed and pushed Denise in public. He controlled who could be around them, blocking that man from getting on the elevator. He made Denise cry and forced her to stay away from him in that small space. These are classic signs of an abuser. Domestic violence often gets worse during pregnancy. Abusers see pregnant women as trapped and unable to leave easily. They feel more power and control during this vulnerable time. If you see these warning signs in someone's relationship, speak up. Ask if they're okay. Offer help. Sometimes one conversation can change everything. Healthcare workers need to ask pregnant women about their safety during every visit. Friends and family should check in regularly, especially during pregnancy. What warning signs have you noticed in relationships around you? How can we better protect women like Denise? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories that matter. Your engagement helps these important stories reach more people. Denise Middleton was more than a victim. She was a loving daughter, sister, and soon-to-be mother who had her whole life ahead of her. Baby Ezekiel never got the chance to meet the family who was so excited to welcome him. Their story reminds us that domestic violence can happen to anyone, anywhere. It can be hidden behind closed doors in busy apartment buildings where neighbors never suspect what's happening next door. Moore will spend the rest of his life in prison, but that doesn't bring back Denise or Ezekiel. What we can do is learn from this tragedy. We can watch for warning signs. We can speak up when something doesn't feel right. We can support victims and make sure they know help is available. Justice was served in this case, but prevention is always better than punishment. Denise and Ezekiel's memory lives on through their family's love and through the legal changes their case created. If this story affected you, please like this video and subscribe to Crazy Dark Files. Check out our other true crime videos in the playlist below. Thank you for watching, and remember, your voice could save a life.